right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to week 8 of the NFL season. We're still licking our wounds a little bit from last week's debacle. If you watched the channel or our TikToks, it was a rough week for your boys, and we'll dive right into it. Studs and duds from week 7. There's not a lot of studs. Gabe, you start us off. What did you have from last week?
Well, injuries are undefeated, I'll tell you that. They
Yeah.
can humble you and bring you to your knees pretty quick. Pause. Jaden Daniels was my favorite play of the week, and he left the game with a rib injury. Jaden Daniels, 7,600. Like, you can still find some value.
Yeah.
It's kind of depressing. Andy Dalton, very confident that he was going to have a good game. He actually didn't get hurt. He actually got hurt after the game in a car accident. So he's not playing this week. It's like anybody we talk about, somehow trouble finds him.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard was in my core four. He didn't play very well. I can't think of really anybody inside my core four that played fantastic. It's going to be a tough week for the grades.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me do some review. Cole, you do yours, and let me see if I can remember my core four. I did a really good job of compartmentalizing this week to forget about it. Yeah.
No doubt.
Oh, I got it. Calcaterra absolutely sucked. My best core four was Elijah Moore at 3,200. I think he had like 10 or 11 points. He didn't boom or bust. He just met his projection. So tough week, man. We're past it. We're moving on. It's week 8 now. Go ahead, Cole.
Studs and duds.
Yeah, my guys, can we just skip past it? Is that a thing? Can we just go right through it? Tony? I can't remember my core four either. But I can't remember my core four either because it's kind of like trying to forget trauma. It's just one of those things you try and get out of your brain. But I know I had Tony Pollard. He went down with a concussion. My other one's not very good. So no studs, a whole bunch of duds, 4 duds. So let's just move on. How about that?
Yeah, I had a lot of duds. I also had Tony Pollard, as well as Juju Smith-Schuster, who got hurt in the first 2 drives of the game. My first at $4,000 is Juju Smith-Schuster. He's dealing with a little bit of a hamstring injury.
Yeah.
So I don't love that. Anytime you get a hamstring, it's always a chance that flares back up.
Oh, he needs some milk.
Hamstringy, done. That's why, again, I should have known better to pick up anybody and put him in my core 4 with a hamstring injury during the week, because it always happens. They always get re-injured because they're going too hard. So that's on me. The only good pick I had from last week was David Njoku with 76 yards and a touchdown and 10 catches.
Yeah, he was a good one.
He was good, but outside of that, it was pretty poor. So we're gonna regroup. We're gonna talk about value plays for week 8.
Hey, it may have been a bad week. But I don't have a trophy to hold up. But I did win the contest this week of Lonnie.
Hold your garbage can up. How about that? For this week.
Just got a pile of trash I can hold up.
Yeah. You got a trash bag around you?
You need to send that back with Sarah. Send that back with Sarah this weekend. Figure out a way to get it to her so he can send it to me
too. So
yeah.
But let's dive into value plays for week 8. All right. We'll kind of start with quarterbacks here, and we'll each take a turn, talk about who we like and where we see value. Gabe, we'll start with you, quarterback wise. Where do you see value for week 8?
Yeah. So quarterbacks, I really like a lot of quarterbacks this week, but if I'm going to narrow in on some values, I think my 2 favorite, AR-15, Anthony Richardson, Indiana, or Indianapolis Colts, 5,800 against Houston. Could be a high-scoring game. He had the most rush attempts he's had all season last week with 14. I don't know if it's because Jonathan Taylor's been out, but it seems like he may be trying to run the ball a little bit more to get that offense going. And then Bo Nix, 5,600 against the Panthers. He's had some good rushing value as well and a really good matchup. And then as far as the higher price guys, I think C.J. Stroud against the Colts too. I'm targeting the Colts defense like we talked about last
Yeah,
week.
exactly.
And a good matchup, so I like Stroud.
Cole, what you got quarterback wise?
I'm leaning with Gabe on the Bo Nix pick. That was my first listed value QB play.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I think Aaron Rodgers at 5,700 is a great value play as well. He's going against New England. I mean, he just got Devontae Adams, got his guy. So why not throw something, see if it sticks? And then I've got four listed, but I'm gonna run through it. I won't give an explanation for each one. But I've got Jordan Love, and I've got Spencer Rattler. As the Saints are getting healthier, I think it's a good play.
What is the salary on those guys on Rattler and
Jordan Love?
Jordan
Love is 7,100. Rattler is 4,600.
Rattler's 4,600. Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Like that one.
That was good. I like that. My quarterbacks for this week, I also have Bo Nix, which means don't touch Bo Nix, everybody. Ultimate kiss of death. All three of us across the board.
All right, I got an idea.
Stay away from Bo Nix.
Watch Auburn on Saturday. If Auburn plays well, go Bo Nix. If Auburn plays like trash, go all the way from Bo Nix.
Accurate right there.
So basically avoid Bo Nix. So just avoid Bo Nix.
Avoid at all costs. The other quarterback I had listed was Jordan Love. I have him on my yearly fantasy, and he's thrown 13 touchdowns in 4 weeks, and he's playing against a terrible Jacksonville defense. So at 7,100, I'm kind of like Gabe said last week, which could come back to bite us this week, but Gabe said you can find value in higher salary guys if it's a good matchup, and I think this is a good matchup for Jordan Love. So at 7,100, I really like that matchup and see a lot of value there. Let's move on to receivers. Receivers for week 8. I'll start us this time. This is the lowest Tyreek Hill has been in probably 2 years at 7,000 against the Arizona defense. I just can't imagine he's going to sit in this slump any longer. This has got to be breakout week. I know it's still 7,000 salary, but this is the lowest you're going to ever get Tyreek Hill, especially with Tua probably coming back next week.
Yeah.
So I'm going Tyreek Hill 7,000. I see this has got to be it. This is the value.
This is it. This is the breakout game.
And then
if there was ever a time.
It's this Sunday. It's happening.
If there was ever a time. Hey, he said start the band. He said strike up the band. He told fantasy managers to get ready.
He's ready.
So
He's ready.
I'm ready.
And then the last one, I just did 2 quick receivers. Tyreek Hill is one. I actually like Romeo Doubs at 5,700. The past 2 weeks he's had, this is week against Arizona, he had 3 catches, 49 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then last week he had 10 targets, 8 catches, 94 yards against Houston. So at 5,700, I kind of see his direction trending up. So I think you can find value in Romeo Doubs this week at 5,700. So, and that's against, again, I already hit on Jordan Love against the Jacksonville defense is terrible. So I think Romeo Doubs is a good play for this week. Stack him up in your lineup for sure, Gabe.
I think that Wicks injury for the Packers freed up Dobbs. Him and Wicks were kind of battling for some playing time, and that's why Dobbs got benched that 1 week because he was complaining about playing time. So he's back in. I have a similar take to you, Britton, about cheaper receivers. Devontae Adams at 7,100 with Aaron Rodgers. This is also a week you're rarely going to get Devontae Adams at 7,100. Cole was shaking your head. No, you don't like?
Absolutely
no touch?
not, dude. Garrett Wilson
Oh, my gosh.
is the guy. And,
Oh, I don't know, man. Devontae Adams is staying at Aaron Rodgers' house. He's living there. So you mean to tell me he's going to not get this guy the ball and force feed it? I think it's going to be more of a red zone thing. Like whenever he's at the Packers, like Devontae Adams was a touchdown machine, especially a first touchdown machine. So if you like first touchdown bets, Devontae Adams is probably your guy this weekend. So we'll touch on running backs after this, but I think this is a week where you're going to have to pay up on running backs. I don't see a lot of value there. So you're going to have to try to identify values at the receiver position, the tight end position, somewhere in the 3,000, 4,000 range, so you can start a good quarterback. So the Browns this past week traded Cooper away. He's at the Bills now. You got Cedric Tillman at 3,300. he led the team in targets last week, which is weird when they have Elijah Moore and Jerry Jeudy. But for some reason, Cedric Tillman got a lot of looks when Jameis came in. And then the value play of the week, if you can find it, the Tampa Bay receiver room. The most expensive receiver for them right now is $3,800, and that's Sterling Shepard. And then you have Jalen McMillan at $3,700 and Trey Palmer at $3,500. So you have three receivers there, all below $4,000, and a fairly pass-heavy offense, I feel like, with Baker Mayfield. So you're taking a shot on one of those guys. You gotta almost get lucky, or you could pick multiple. But we don't know who's going to get the volume that Godwin got or Mike Evans. I guess it'll kind of depend on where they line them up in the formation. But if I had to choose one, I like Jalen McMillan, rookie. I think he's out of Washington. I like McMillan.
I like it. Cole?
I also chose Jalen McMillan. That was my number one pick. From what I've heard,
I like Sterling Shepard.
He's the man.
Yeah. Well, from what I've heard is chemistry is the big thing. They think that Sterling Shepard actually has better chemistry with Baker than Jalen McMillan does. But from what I've heard, they also think Jalen McMillan's going to be the guy. So honestly, it is a toss-up like Gabe was talking about. My second value receiver, Tyreek Hill, 7,000. Saying we're all kind of agreeing with each other here. Tua coming back is going to be the reason he has a breakout game. Huntley's not going to get him the ball. Tua Tagovailoa is going to get him the ball like he always has. He's going to force feed him. I think Mike McDaniel and Tua are going to have a point to prove this upcoming week and try to get him back healthy and have him show out. So I'm going Tyreek Hill all the way. With that being said, expect Jalen Waddle to go for 50.
Jalen Waddle's questionable. I don't know if he's going to play, but there's a lot of value at receiver this week. You got Jerry Jeudy at $4,800 too. It's a fairly and I just realized Dontavian Wicks is actually playing this week, Britton.
Yeah, he is.
So he may have I didn't see that. So he might have been Dobbs might have been in a favorable situation with him out. So we'll see how that shakes out this week.
I ain't scared.
And then you also have Rashad Bateman coming off an outstanding performance last week, only had 4 catches. But
I've got Rashad Bateman picked in some lineups. That's a great value play. He's had 3 touchdowns in the last 5 games, so
yeah,
he's been good. But they spread it around so much. He's had 4 receptions on 4 targets. It's not like they're making the most of what they're throwing or what they're targeting. So
I know we've thrown out a lot of names, but. We were talking about Bo Nix earlier. Troy Franklin led the team in targets last week, and he's a rookie that played with Bo Nix last year at Oregon. And I'm assuming they're very comfortable playing together because he looks for him a lot when he has Cortland Sutton there. Cortland Sutton didn't have a single catch last week in a game where they just blew out the Saints. It's kind of strange that their number one receiver didn't have a catch. But, yeah, so value everywhere at receiver. Take that value where you can get it and kind of pay up for some of these running backs or maybe a better quarterback.
I love it, baby. All right, let's move on. Running back wise, Gabe, you've kind of alluded to the fact you don't see a whole lot of value out there. Did you highlight anybody at all moving into week 8?
Yeah, you're gonna have to break out the checkbook for some of these running backs. But if you're looking in like not these running backs, but if you really want, if you can find those good receivers, you're gonna have to pay up for maybe a Saquon, somebody like that. But I think if you're looking for value wise and good matchups, Kareem Hunt against Las Vegas, 6,300. He's getting a lot of work for Kansas City.
Yep. They
just added Edwards-Helaire back. I don't know how that. I thought maybe that might cut into his workload last week a little bit, but I don't think Helaire even touched the field. So I'm not really as concerned about his workload now as I was with him coming back. And then also, you're breaking out the Dolphins' offense now. So Achane, 6,200, another player that I feel like you typically get him above 7,000 a lot of the time, and he's at 6,200. And then Josh Jacobs, he's been hovering around the same price all season at 6,600. And that in that range, below 7K, but just above 6,500. So I like Josh Jacobs against Jacksonville too, with the offense that's going to move the ball. Maybe he can get a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, he got one last week finally.
Yeah, I know. I know. Reader's touchdown. This is kind of how bullish I am when I pick a running back like that. When I see somebody that hadn't had a touchdown all season with the potential of Josh Jacobs, I just keep picking them because they're going to have that game where they get like 3 touchdowns, and I'm not going to be on the side of course I didn't pick him this week. I'm just going to keep picking him until he does it.
No doubt.
It's coming.
Yeah, no doubt, dude. Oh man! All right, Cole. Running backs. What'd you highlight this week?
All right, so I'm gonna switch it up a little bit here. Finally, we can get a little variance on our picks here. But I picked Breece Hall against New England at 7,300.
Yep.
New England's defense is horrible.
Yep.
I'll go ahead and say that. Breece Hall gets a lot of passes. He'll get the looks at the goal line. I'm expecting a couple touchdowns from him. Number 2, the Saints can't tackle a traffic cone. So J.K. Dobbins with that run hard mentality and Jim Harbaugh forcing it down the Saints' throat this weekend is going to happen.
Pause.
So I'm going J.K. Dobbins all day long. And then number 3 is Javonte Williams at 6,000. I think he's turned a corner. I'm putting my faith in him against Carolina. And one thing that if the passing game's not there, the run game's going to have to be there. So I'm going Javonte against Carolina this weekend at 6,000.
Carolina. That Carolina D is definitely not stiff. It's very limp. I'll give them that.
No doubt. I had a combination for value at running back that you guys had. Breece Hall. New England's allowing 136.1 rushing yards a game. Give me that for 7,300. And then Kareem's been playing really well the last 2 weeks against the crappy Vegas team that's struggling. So I think that's kind of 2 value picks you can find at running back, a combination of what y'all said already. But we'll move into tight ends. I'll start us off before you poach mine. Give me K-Dot at 3,000.
That's all three of us.
We're all 3 on that.
No Godwin, no Evans, coming off his best fantasy performance last week. Now, I know those numbers were a little bit inflated due to the circumstance of the Ravens game, but give me K-Dot at 3,500. All right, y'all are up. I just didn't want y'all to steal mine.
Give me Greg Calcaterra, 3,200 as well. I'll take my chances on him. I'm going back to the calculator. I'm hoping he can rack up some points for me this week and really boost my score.
What's his salary?
3,200. He's just re-up from last week. His salary didn't move, so it's when I see people like that who have a good week and then they have another bad week, I'm just like, it could be like a Kincaid situation where I'm just an idiot and I just continue to go at them and hoping that they like break out. It's just hard for me to imagine with as much as Jalen loves throwing to Goddard that Calcaterra won't, have a good game at some point before Goddard comes back. And then I don't like this one as much as I did before because I thought Wicks was still out. But Tucker Kraft's at 4,600 with Musgrave on IR. And he's had some really good games. But like I said, with Wicks and Dobbs and Reed, I think Reed's questionable. If Reed ends up not playing, maybe I look at that a little bit deeper. And then you said Njoku had 10 catches last week. He had 14 targets on top of the 10 catches, so 5,100. It's a good play with Jameis Winston, who honestly at this point is probably better than Deshaun Watson, to be honest.
Yeah,
so.
That's probably right, honestly. So I don't mind it at all. Cole, what you got?
I've gone, would you believe it? K. Dotton, number 1 value tight end play this week, 3,500. Kyle Pitts is my number 2.
Ooh.
I see Kyle
What's the
Pitts
salary
against
there?
Tampa Bay's defense, 4,400.
Likey.
Not bad.
Yep. I listed Brock Bowers as one. Somebody's got to get the targets, but that's not value.
I'm all right with that.
Yeah. The last one, somebody I'm going to always stick with. I'm going to go with my
Travis
guns.
Kelce.
Heck no, dude. You crazy? You crazy? Taysom Hill, number 7. Live and die by Taysom. He's gonna
I
get the goal
don't
line.
know.
That is going to come back to haunt
Before-
you on a TikTok.
I was scared. I'm scared.
Before he got injured, he had 2 rushing touchdowns, and that was in the first quarter. He had 14 points, and then he got injured and was out for a few weeks. He's going to get goal line carries, and he's going to get about 2 catches. That's what you're going to get. He's going to get the ball. So,
Oh, yeah, but if he doesn't score a touchdown, he is an absolute nuclear bomb.
Missile.
couldn't you say
Yeah.
that for everybody? Couldn't you say that for every tight end, though? Just about?
No, you can't, because Taysom Hill's snap percentage is way lower than Calcaterra and K-Dot, and he's not going to be on the field as much. Well, I'm not saying it's a bad play. That play will separate you for sure, and he gets a lot, like you said, red zone looks. He's got his floor is so low, or it's like, yeah, his floor is so low, but his ceiling
Yeah.
is sky high. He's a volatile. Like, if you look at his boom bust percentage on like a season long, I guarantee it's like 35% boom, 35% bust. Like, it's going to be an insane.
Well, guess what, buddy? If we're the Costco guys, we're bringing the boom this week with Taysom Hill.
I can't.
I mean, here's the reality on Hill. I mean, if Spencer Rattler pulls a hammy or twists an ankle, Taysom may be your starting quarterback.
Quarterback. He's done playing quarterback. He's going to be wild. He's the Wildcat quarterback, but he's done officially. They announced it this year. He's done playing quarterback.
I don't think he's had a passing touchdown this year. I don't
Yeah,
think.
He hasn't.
So
He hasn't.
with Rattler, that's kind of what I've been waiting on, Cole. With Rattler at quarterback, is for them to dial something up for Taysom to throw like a bomb to Shaheed or somebody. But now that Shaheed's out, I don't know who. I guess I'll try and throw it to Olave, but.
No, they just signed Valdez Scantling this week, so that's going to be the new supposed deep threat. But we'll see.
See how that goes.
Here's the needle.
Hey, what's
Stop moving.
What's Olave's salary this week?
Probably
Olave's
6,500.
salary is- Yeah, it's in the 6,000 range.
6,000.
I'm guessing, Cole. Check it out. See what it is. I'm guessing 6,000.
Yeah,
It's
6,000.
it's right in
That's
that.
spot.
Yeah, it's right in there.
I kind of like it. I don't love that he's playing the Chargers, but I do kind of like that because who else they gonna throw it to?
Yeah.
That might be a
Chargers
great
defense
play
is
as
a
well.
wagon. Chargers defense is a wagon. One thing I've learned is I'm just going to stop looking at matchups because the Green Bay Packers defense is not a wagon, and C.J. Stroud threw for 73 yards last week. So
You say it's a wagon. What does that mean?
it means they're a handful. It means they're really good. They're tough to deal with. Those kind of things.
Okay.
Interesting.
That's a new one for me. I never heard that one, but hey,
You never
Hey,
heard that?
Gabe, we're getting old, brother.
apparently my defensive picks are who's the cheapest. Make a play. That's my defensive strategy. I'm throwing the cheapest defense out there and hoping for a couple sacks.
Are we talking defenses
man.
now?
I know.
we're
I'm
gonna
just
go-
saying that's just my strategy.
Yeah, we're gonna go core 4 here. All right, moving from value, core 4. I think we'll have some overlap for sure, but just out of curiosity, Cole, go ahead and start us off. I know you're about to poach one of mine, but go ahead and do it.
Buddy, there's absolutely zero chance that I poach one of your, or I might get one of your core 4s, but not the one that you're thinking of.
Yeah, it is. I
All right,
guarantee
so-
you it's the same
Oh
one.
yeah, it's definitely Otten. It's
There's-
definitely Otten
there's
for sure.
No way. There is no way. Because it's going to be a first.
Let me guess.
Oh man, I'm gonna try to
No,
think
just
too.
let
If
me,
you're
just let
watching,
me say it.
No, let me
if
guess.
you're
it 'cause I
watching,
know-
if you're
I know
watching,
who
trying
it
to
is.
pause. If you're watching, pause and try to think of it yourself. I'm trying to think of
I
it too.
know exactly who it is. Who's
Okay, who
starting
is
against
it?
the Broncos defense? Bryce Young.
Bryce
You
Young.
took the Broncos defense in your core 4, didn't you?
No. Did not.
No,
Oh.
you think Bryce Young in your core 4? Okay, hold on.
Bryce Young in my core 4.
Give me 30. Give me 10 seconds. Give me 10 seconds. Look at the clock.
Dude, you're not
Give me
going to
10
guess it. You're not
seconds.
going to, I'm telling you, you're not going to guess it. You're not going to
The
guess it.
first ever in the core
You-
4. It has to
You
be
haven't
defense.
mentioned him yet.
I have not mentioned no, I have not mentioned him yet.
Well, that's a value play for you. Way to not mention him in the value section.
Okay, well,
Give him in your
Well,
core
yeah,
4.
there's a reason I didn't
Listen.
mention it. There's a reason.
It's a
Okay,
defense.
okay.
Who is it?
All right, who is it?
All right, so my core 4, I went Spencer Rattler, which I did mention, so it's not him.
He's at
Obviously.
what, 4,700?
4,600. 4,600.
4,600.
Yep. Brees Hall,
Okay.
Tyreek Hill,
Okay.
and for the first time in Blueprint history, the Falcons defense is starting in every single one of my lineups against Baker Mayfield and the no-name receivers.
Uh,
I don't mind.
yeah.
What's the price point?
2,600.
I don't mind it because I'm about to echo you on a core 4, first ever followed by a second ever. Give me the Broncos defense against Bryce Young.
Why are we putting defenses in the core 4? What is this?
I got to, dude.
What kind of show is this, dude? We're losing viewers by the second. What is the core 4?
Juicy, bro. All right, so look. I did a quick.
Broncos D is too juicy, dude.
I did a quick analysis on the Broncos defense and special teams. They have scored double digits. They have scored double-digit points in 4 of the last 5 weeks. They're playing against Bryce Young, who's thrown 2 picks a game, basically. Give me Broncos defense at 3,700. I expect them to go for at least 15
Oh, God,
points.
chill out. Give me the Broncos D. That Broncos D is juicy. Oh, my God.
We're not gonna make it through my core 4.
That's an expensive defensive play too. I'm just thinking of the money I could use with somebody else with that play. But
well, this could be a really.
Who's the
fun
rest?
kickoff.
Who's the rest? What was it? Did you give it? What was the rest of them?
No, I didn't finish it.
Finish
K-Dot,
it.
K-Dot
Okay.
at 3,500. I actually really like Kareem Hunt at 6,300 against Vegas, and then I've got Bo Nix against Carolina. That's my core 4. And they were all on value except for the Broncos defense.
I'm gonna feel like such a needle posting a TikTok with some defenses at the core 4. You know how many times I've looked at the person in first place and I've been like, why did they pick the cheapest defense on the slate? And I was like, it's because they could get T. Higgins or somebody that was worth the crap in the lineup. It's just, as I said, you pick the worst defense, dude. The strategy of all of our teams is going to be different, and my strategy from now on, I'm 1,000% set on it. Unless like Carolina's playing Kansas City, I'm picking the cheapest defense on the board. Like it's
Yeah,
well,
but
let's
see,
think about this.
I did
The
that
cheapest
last
defense.
week. I did that last week, and I picked the Titans defense. They got absolutely torched and lost me points, and I didn't get any money.
Okay, but so say you pick the cheapest defense of the Titans, they give you 0
defense is
points.
pretty good. They gave me
But say you get 0 points. Say you get 0 points for the Titans defense, and then you pick the Broncos D this week, and they give you 10 points. Okay.
the
You think that
Broncos
10
gave me 20
points-
last week?
Okay, it did give you 20 last week. I started the
They gave me
Broncos
20
D last week too.
Yeah, 20
But-
points.
But say the Broncos D has a tough week, and they give you
They
8
having
points.
a tough week against
Hey,
Bryce
let
Young.
me give you 8 points, and then the Titans defense gives me 3. We're separated by 5 points. I'm not gonna be that's not gonna put you over the top of me if I can get like Devontae Adams in my lineup, and you have to start Jerry Jeudy or somebody else. Like it's like
Yeah,
That's a little bit of a
I guess
stretch,
my
but-
thought process here is that's how much belief I have in the Broncos defense this week. Or
Okay,
maybe
well-
it shows how little faith I have in Bryce Young to actually come in
Well,
and
let
throw a
me-
touchdown pass.
hey, that's what the channel's for, man. We're here to talk strategy. So
Let me
All right,
make a
anyways.
statement. If you pick the Titans defense against Detroit, you get what's coming to you, buddy.
Yeah, no
be-
doubt.
it's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
be-
no-
or Jared Goff gets sacked, and Jeffrey Simmons scoops the ball up, scores a touchdown, and then I'm set. And it's just random. Or Jared Goff throws a couple picks, and they give me that's 4 points right there. If they get me, I mean,
All right, we're spending way
it's-
too much time on defense. We got to move on.
yeah, we are. That's very
All right.
true. This is great.
Core
Let
four.
me get my
Gabe.
core
Give me your
4.
core 4. This is a true core
AR-15.
4, everybody. This is a true core
Yeah,
4.
true core 4. AR-15, Anthony Richardson, 5,800. Kate Otten, 3,500. I'm following you guys. It's just too good.
Yeah,
It's
it's
simply too
much
good.
value. too much value.
Jalen McMillan, 3,700. Kareem Hunt, 6,300. I'm sticking with those core 4, and that's not going to change because all those guys are fully healthy.
I like it. We're going to jump into optimal lineup session right here, but if you want to take a look at what our model says this week, check out our TikTok channel. Gabe's going to have that thrown up for you guys instead of diving into the AI or our model. We're just going to skip that segment for this week and go straight into our starting lineups. But again, those will be on the TikTok channel if you're looking for them. So starting lineups for week 8. Gabe, we'll start with you if you don't mind. What do you have for your starting lineup week 8?
Yep. So starting lineup for week 8, I'm going Anthony Richardson, Kareem Hunt, Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, Tyreek Hill, Jackson Smith and Jigba with DK Metcalf questionable, Cade Otton, and I'm going the flex spot Jerry Jeudy at this point. And I'm going Jaguars D at 2,300 just because I had a couple extra dollars. I don't have McMillan in this core 4 right now because I had so much extra salary with Cade Otton at my tight end spot that I could kind of pay up for a better receiver. So that's my team I'm rolling out.
What's your other defensive option? You're going to put the Jacksonville Jaguars out there against the Green Bay Packers?
Green Bay Packers.
Bro, they're playing at home. They're playing at home. I already told you my strategy, dude. Make a play, bro. Get out there and make a play.
I feel like I would look at maybe another defense, like another 2,300 or 2,200. What other?
The other option is Carolina versus Denver.
Dude, I would take that. I would take that over.
I think I'd take that too. That's deflating either way.
I think Jacksonville has more talent than Carolina on defense. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, but Green
Bro, I watched the dude win with the Patriots defense against I don't remember who had like 21 points, and I was like, who the frick picks the Patriots defense? They had a defensive touchdown. You're gonna look at my team next week most likely, and you're gonna be like, how did Jordan Love throw 2 interceptions? And I'm gonna say
he throws 2 interceptions every week, but he also throws 4 touchdowns.
Well, the thing about defenses is like so in season long. I'm talking too long about defense, Brittany. I started back up again. In season long, you get negative points for yardage allowed. In DraftKings, you don't get any negative points for yardage allowed. You literally get only subtractions from points, and then your sacks are 1 point, and your interceptions are 2. Defensive touchdowns are 6. So a Jaguars defensive play in a season long could, yes, potentially get you negative 8 points because you could get negative 6 points for letting up 500 yards. But that's not going to happen in DraftKings because they only give you negative points for points allowed. So that's another reason why I try to stick to cheaper defenses because they're not as critical as or detrimental to your overall point score in DraftKings.
I love it. Sorry. I didn't mean to question you, but I'm not really sorry. Cole, what you got for your starting lineup?
All right, boys. So I'm going Spencer Rattler, starting quarterback on every single lineup. I'm taking the risk. I'm putting my toe in the water with him. Running backs, Breece Hall, Javonte Williams. Wide receivers, Tyreek Hill. If Tua plays, if Tua doesn't play, I'm changing it. Drake London. I'm going Tyler Lockett instead of Njigba. Tight end, Cade Otton. Flex, Devon A-Chain. Once again, only if Tua plays. Defense, Falcons, baby.
Tua's playing.
Up. He is playing?
The Tua's playing. He already said he's playing. Yeah, he's playing.
I thought he said he was
Lock
playing
it in,
week.
baby.
Is he playing this week?
No, they said he's playing this week, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
That's why Tyreek Hill was so excited. Yeah. All right, Britton.
All right, mine. I need to reevaluate mine because now Gabe's in my head for defenses, so I'm confused now. I'm in a world of confusion. Also, while I'm talking, I need somebody to verify that Tua's
playing?
Verify that Tua news, yeah.
I'm like 90% sure
if he is playing, the value is unbelievable. It was already decent for Tyreek Hill, but it is unbelievable.
Oh, so you were starting Tua? You were starting him without what's his name playing?
I was starting him with a possibility of it, but if he is 100% the starter at 7,000, Tyreek Hill is going to go for 30.
Tua Tagovailoa was a full participant in Thursday's practice.
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm a full believer.
do with that information what you want.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do with that information in just a second as I go through this list. Bo Nix, starting quarterback at 5,600 against the Carolina defense. Kareem Hunt, coming off 2 great weeks, 6,300 against the Raiders' struggling defense. Love it. Breece Hall, 7,300 against the New England Patriots, who are allowing 136 yards rushing a game. Love that too. Drake London, 7,200, absolutely annihilated the Buccaneers last time they played. Hopefully that trend continues. Tyreek Hill at 7,000, with Tua potentially more than likely coming back. This is the one where y'all are going to laugh, and it's okay because I don't barely even know his name either. But Devon Vele for the Broncos had to stack somebody that's someone I could afford. So, because
like
this is the problem. Because 9 games in my head, I'm going to have to reevaluate everything. But anyways, K-Dot in 3,500. He's the only one that Baker can really throw to outside of Sterling Shepard. The only one that they have chemistry with, so at 3,500, I like it. And that game last time, it was pretty high scoring, Atlanta versus Buccaneers. So I expect the same thing. Travis Kelce in my flex at 6,000, and then Broncos defense 3,700. So
I think he just walked off on you.
I think he just walked off because I've trashed Travis Kelce for 5 weeks in a row, and then I have circling the wagons and going Travis Kelce here for week 8. So,
who's your defense again?
My defense is still the Broncos defense at the moment, but it could change because now you're in my head. So there's a good chance that
take that D down, bump up the Vele to Troy Franklin. Dud.
Britton, I think you need to go with what you got, man.
I can't, dude. I can't have Cole. Here's the problem, dude. I can't have a week like I had last week. I don't think my confidence can survive 2 weeks in a row.
Do you know how bad my lineup did last week?
I know, but mine didn't do great either. But to be fair to anybody that's actually listening to this podcast, last week was just brutal for a lot of people. All right?
Oh yeah, it wasn't just us. No,
it was across the board. There was tons of injuries, so it was just a rough week. If you look at our record prior to last week, there were some good things. Oh, yeah. Now, last week there was no good things, except for maybe David Njoku, maybe.
David Njoku, that's true.
Yeah, outside of that, there was a lot of duds. So, but now I'm in my head because I felt like such a smart individual, like watching the Broncos be so successful last week on defense. I'm like, did they do it again against Bryce Young, who's been barely able to throw it across the line of scrimmage? It seems like a smart play. But now I got to reevaluate. So stay tuned to the TikTok channel because my starting lineups may change. I've got to sit and really think about it tonight and figure out what I'm going to do. But that being said, games that we like for week 8. Cole, we'll start with you. Do you have 1 to 2 games that you really like and see value in?
I do, yeah. Definitely going to have to go with Atlanta and Tampa Bay. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game like you were talking about.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to have to go with – definitely not going to go Tennessee and Detroit, I can tell you that. But Philadelphia and Cincinnati, every time they play, they seem to have high-scoring matchups. So those 2 games I think are going to be good. Green Bay, Jacksonville, can't go wrong with that. It's basically 2 blind defenses playing each other. So
that's not true. The Packers defense is not that bad. They're not that bad. Disrespect. Disrespect.
No, I mean those are the games I've got picked out. Obviously, from a fan perspective, I'm going New Orleans and Los Angeles. But
yeah, hey, you did mention Detroit Lions. I think we would be not doing our due diligence here if we didn't talk a little bit about what their receivers are going to look like moving forward with Jameson Williams out for 2 weeks. I think there's got to be some value there.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
At their wide receiver ranks for them since J-Mo is going to be out for at least 2 weeks for the substance abuse policy. Gabe, I think we talked about it in text message a little bit early when the news broke, but that's going to be a Reynolds play, don't you think, as the value pick for Detroit?
It'll be Raymond. Khalif Raymond. Reynolds is at I think Reynolds is at the Broncos now. Is that right? Or is Josh Reynolds at? I'm not really sure, but no, it's
Actually,
Khalif Raymond is there too.
He might be at the Chargers.
Yeah, he might be. As far as games, I like Indianapolis and Houston. I think that's probably the game I'll target in a lot of lineups. Like I said, I have Joe Mixon, Anthony Richardson in my lineup this week, so I foresee that being a pretty high scoring game. And like Cole said, Green Bay and Jacksonville. I think there's some value plays with the Green Bay offense against Jacksonville.
I love it.
Oh, sorry. One more thing, Brendan. One more thing. ETN for Jacksonville has been questionable all week. He's back to limited participant, but Tate Bigsby last week had 26 points, awesome. 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards. So if ETN's out, that's another running back value play we should look at.
Yeah, absolutely. So my games to watch, and I kind of enjoy the analysis, the statistical, the research process. So I'm tuning into the Ravens versus the Browns. I'm curious what the Browns lineup looks like moving forward with Jameis Winston. Does it add value to any of the receivers or tight ends in the lineup? So I'm curious to see what their offense looks like with a different quarterback, just for research purposes moving forward. And then I'm also curious about the Jets and Patriots game. We've seen Drake May perform decent, to be honest with you, for 2 weeks. So I'm curious if if it's just kind of a lucky start, or if he's actually doing things that are going to increase value at the receiver and tight end position, because Hunter Henry's done really well with Drake May in the lineup. So those are kind of the 2 games I have circled, not necessarily for enjoyment as a fan, because I could care less about the Browns and I could care less about the Patriots, but I am just curious about like what value can be added with different quarterbacks at the position. So those are the 2 games I kind of have circled. But moving into our favorite segment, No Touchy. Cole, do you have a No Touchy for us for Week 8?
I do, and it's going to depend on if Jaden Daniels plays, but I also think Jaden Daniels with this rib injury is something to watch. But I went Terry McLaurin as my No Touchy this week. Also, another possible No Touch, if the injuries continue or if the injuries clear up, it's Tank Bigsby. That's who I went with my No Touch, because if Etienne's back, it's going to cut into his carries, and Etienne will probably end up catching the passes. So both of those guys are on my No Touch list this week.
Gabe, do you have any No Touches for Week 8?
That's a good question. When I was looking at him earlier, I didn't really have anybody else kind of staying away from him. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. for the Cardinals, he has not really lived up to his fantasy draft status or his draft status in the actual NFL draft this year. He has not played well with Kyler Murray, besides like one outlier game where I think he scored 3 touchdowns at the beginning of the year. But he really struggled to get loose in against the Chargers last week, who had a bunch of injuries in their secondary. So I kind of expected him to have a really good week last week, and he didn't. So I'm kind of staying away from Arizona receivers at this point. I don't really like any of those receivers except maybe Trey McBride. I think he gets a decent amount of looks, but besides that, no. And then good point by Cole on the Washington receivers with no Jaden Daniels. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. My No Touches for Week 8, I'm going to repeat one from last week. If Anthony Richardson is playing quarterback, I don't want any of the Colts receivers. It's just so up in the air on who's actually going to catch a pass, or if he's even going to complete a pass in the first quarter. So I'm out on Colts receivers. And then I got a weird feeling about this Buccaneers-Atlanta game. I think there's a lot of Kirk Cousins is going to repeat with 500. Let's go after Kirk Cousins in value this week. I'm staying away from Kirk Cousins in Week 8. I'm going to buck the system and go in the opposite direction and see what happens. So get ready to clip this for the TikTok. It's probably going to absolutely come back to haunt me.
Where's that game? Where's that game? Tampa?
It's in Tampa this time. Yeah.
Okay.
It's in Tampa. Kirk Cousins the last 2 weeks hasn't played tremendous. And the running game's really gotten going. Bijan Robinson's been fantastic the last 2 weeks. So I think that they may try to put it on the ground more than they did last time. So we'll see. That's just kind of me throwing a dart at the wall, trying to be opposite of other people. But I'm gonna go no Kirk Cousins for week 8. But anything else that we need to talk about as we kind of wrap up?
That is it for me, man. Really just I should have lit a candle in here, try to burn out some of the bad vibes from last week, maybe some sage, like pull a Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, holy
But
crap.
we're gonna positive vibes only, baby. Positive vibes only this week. No more injuries. Stay away.
Yeah, and
Let's do it.
I mean, the only thing I can really say is to the viewer that's watching this, leave comments, leave suggestions, leave tips. Let's up the engagement. Let's get this thing rolling. But we're open to criticism. We're open to advice. It starts with us, but it ends with you guys. So
Yeah, we're here to help the people. We want to. If you have plays for us that you think we should talk about, or that you want to recommend to us, we'll try and put them up on the TikTok channel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the only thing I have to say is kiss of death is a real thing.
Kiss of death is a real thing.
So
If we all three align, we should call that the kiss of death, because we all three got K-Dot in this week.
Yes.
yeah, that could be a new
We'll
segment.
see what happens.
I think all three of us had Bo Nix in value and K-Dot in value. So let's just put it this way.
Ooh.
Either somebody's getting hurt, which I hate to put that on anybody, but somebody's getting hurt, or somebody's going to be so bad that it hurts me. So just be paying attention to things like that, because usually when we do something like that, something bad happens. So with that, good luck this week. Hopefully we'll see you guys later on, but stay tuned to the TikTok channel as we continue to update as injuries come out. All right, guys. Catch y'all next week.
Peace.
Let's turn it around.